Great. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm in the United Kingdom, so I'll say good evening, and I think it's afternoon at your place, Dominic, isn't it?
Yes, we're 2 o'clock Eastern, and I'm in Toronto. So yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And also, good morning to anyone who's 11 a.m. There you are, Laurie. Okay, so yeah, good morning to you. So this is going to be a very, very special webinar. I will just say this, it's very fascinating because Dominic and I were meant to be speaking a year ago, like reaching out to each other. And so it happened that actually Dominic saw the post a year later, but it was perfect timing. We both knew that it was perfect timing, right?
Yeah, that was funny. I don't know what happened in WhatsApp, but I completely missed it from 1 year ago. So there was a message about reaching out. So I'm so glad that you had reached out again, totally on a different basis. But once I went in there, I go, "Oh my gosh, there's a message here from a year ago." Yeah.
Absolutely. And like we said, the time to manifest had come, and the time to talk about manifesting amazing health had come. This is why we are having this conversation. So if you are wondering, like, is this about the health webinar? Is this about the manifestation? You're absolutely in the right place because this is what we are going to talk about. And I am also going to allow people to join in unless my admin support helps me. So we'll see. So what do I want to say? So first of all, I want to invite everyone to this webinar and say that we have got 90 minutes together. If you need to leave early, you leave, and of course you'll get the recording. If you have any question for us, for Dominic, and we are going to do not a Q&A, but we are going to have it more a conversation style at the second half of this webinar. And the most important thing for that I would like to say is have an intention right at the beginning. Like, what would you like to get as a result of investing your time today for this webinar? Whether you're joining us live or whether you are going to like watch the recording, it's absolutely okay. But when you're like at this moment, when you reach this part of the webinar, yes, close your eyes if you want to. Otherwise, you can keep your eyes open and then have an intention for yourself. There's a reason why you're here. There's definitely a reason why you're here. You're here either because you are fascinated by this topic of health and you're very like you want it for yourself, you want the best health for yourself, be it physical health or mental health, or you're here because of a loved one. Or maybe you're here out of curiosity, but I know that we human beings, all of us, is one thing, that for sure is the greatest gift we have received. And when we were born is one of this, our health. And how can we have the best health? So that's my invitation to all of you. And let's get started.
Mm,
Dominic, thank you so much for agreeing to do this special webinar. And we are doing two, right? Today, one.
yeah.
Yeah. And then again, one for healthcare professionals. Tell us something about you, Dominic. Tell us something. So I'll tell you what I know already. So I know you're a coach. I know you are someone who are very grounded in like what the three principles as discovered by Sydney Banks and also Esther Hicks, Abraham, and the law of attraction. And you run lots of programs, and we were talking about you living miraculously. That's one of your programs. And you do so many different things, but you also work in the corporate world. But I want us to talk about something about manifestation and how you got interested in this particular, this particular area about manifesting or creation.
Yeah. Um, it was a bit by accident or circumstance. So, first of all, yes, but most of my work, it's in organizations with leaders in corporations. I do coaching, or I work with teams in coaching, or I train leaders and managers on, the way I say is, how to be great coaches rather than good bosses. So I'm quite immersed in the distinction that is coaching, and I would say I'm a coach rather than other things like a teacher, or other kinds of things that you can be. And so I was in the corporate world, and when I came, I guess the time I came across this idea of manifestation, or we could say what later we could hear explained or expressed in different ways, which is, you are the creator of your own reality. You are the creator of, sometimes I say it like this and people think I'm cheating, is I'll say, you are the creator of your own experience of reality. And they'll say, oh, yeah, but I'm not interested in what my experience of reality is. I'm interested in whether or not I create reality. And I'll invite you to notice that there is no difference between those statements. The only reality you have known, will ever know, is the reality that you experience. Anything else is a concept. It's some sort of theory of, a projection of potentially there's a reality. It's like, well, no, not my reality, not the reality I'm experiencing, but I'm talking about the real reality. And that's just theoretical. Right? So the truth is, for you, that the reality you experience is the one that you live in, the one that you are alive in, the one that you are conscious within. So, after I was in a corporate world for like 20 years. The last role I held was an executive role. I was VP of HR. And that role got eliminated. There was a restructure, and then somewhere in that sort of coming out of that role, there was just this space of, what the hell do I do now? I had two young kids, and like stuff like that. And then in there is where I came across the teachings of Abraham Hicks. And up until then, I had been more on what I'm going to call is an achievement kind of path, like achieving and accomplishing. Like, if I want something, I'll achieve it. If I want something, I must accomplish it. That kind of, if I'm going to be, do, or have anything, I will be the one to achieve it, to act and to get it.
So it's like a driven energy, like, yes,
A
it's up to
driven,
me, like, yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. And there's something in kind of what I was familiar with, or the way it seemed to me that everything I quote created had to do with my own, let's call it effort, my own effort and action, and that whole thing. And when I came across, I don't know, I ran across a book or something, which was by Abraham Hicks, and Abraham is a channeled teaching. it's a woman called Esther Hicks who channels a collective consciousness called Abraham, and that so it's not a person or a personality; it is a consciousness, pure consciousness, and so it took me a little while to get over the whole channeling thing because that was a little hokey. And from my perspective, I was tripping over that. I'm like, come on, cut the act. What do why don't you just talk about what you're trying to talk about instead of putting this act? So I was just having a little trouble with the way that teaching was. But what I couldn't, what I was unable to deny was the resonance of what I was hearing. So there was some things I would hear and I would think, oh, well, that sounds true. That sounds obvious. That sounds like it's true. And so I invite you to in a way, listen that way here too, as we talk. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what Rani says. None of this matters. Oh, I understand the teachings of Sydney Banks, or I can share quotes that Sid said or Abraham said. That doesn't matter because your choices, if you hear something there, are like, is that true what he said? Like, because he said this, but I don't know if that's true or not. And you can kind of just debate it for yourself, right? So there's kind of a thinking around all of that. But what sometimes happens is you'll hear something and it will resonate. And without thinking, you'll go, yeah, well, that's true. That's true. And when you say that's true, that means even the word resonate, what that means is that what you heard within your own knowing. Here's the other funny thing is you can't even be sure what I said. So I may have said something, but the thing is not what I said, what anyone said. The thing is what you heard. So what you heard, to be true, right? So that's the part that is the only truth, the only view that will make a difference. Because when you hear something that is true, that may have been new or you hadn't heard before, it will transform you. You are no longer the same because you move from not knowing something before to now knowing something.
Can I
And
ask you something, Dominic?
yeah,
Can I ask you something? And I hope it's okay to ask.
I
Okay?
invite it. Yes.
Thank you. Because I'm thinking there might be people sitting here say, but how do I know I know? How do I know it's the truth? Because I have been doubting myself. I lack in confidence. I lack in self-confidence. I have low self-esteem. I just listen to whatever people say and think maybe they are right. So I don't really believe in myself in a way and forget about like knowing this is true. So how will people know even if they're hearing something that's a truth? So can you say more?
Yeah. So it's great. It's a great question. By the way, it's the fact that you can feel that doubt, uncertainty, and all of that is the indicator that th there's a place, a level of knowing that you have within you, and the one who doubts will not be the one who knows. So
Beautiful.
there's a so if we bring it, like, we can bring it and start to include this whole health thing and all of that.
Yeah.
We're talking here about in a way, I know when I came across the three principles, the conversation was about an innate well-being, and they talked about health realization, innate well-being, that kind of thing. And I remember when I first heard that, it just didn't resonate with me. It's like, oh, this must be for therapists, or this must be for helping people who aren't well, or for helping, like that. That's kind of, so I kind of like wasn't resonating with the language being used in three principles. Um, what I later discovered as I saw is that this is not about an innate health. It's about an innate thriving. It's about an innate aliveness. The the attention to health or ill health, or well-being and not well-being, is sort of in a different place, or a different attention. But the energy that comes alive through you and me is an energy only of thriving and aliveness and expression. And so when you go, well, what energy are you talking about? Like, which maybe gets to this question about this doubt and all that stuff. All you have to do is, as opposed to engaging in the noise of the chatter of what I'm thinking and whether what's he saying, does this matter, etc. If the sound quiets, if the noise quiets down, there's some obvious noticing that I'm breathing. Like, I would notice I'm breathing. I would, if you just notice what's happening in just you being here, you are alive, you are conscious. And then the thing is, but I'm not doing that. So I know I'm not doing that, yet that is happening. If I eat food or drink something, it is that there's something that goes on with chemical releases, different things that happen that take nutrients and elements from food and nourish my body and dispose of the rest. And I'm not doing that. So there is this energy that is me, this awareness, this consciousness that is me. And I'm not ever separate from that. I couldn't escape it if I tried. I couldn't jump out of it if I tried. It is one with me. It is indivisible from who I am. In fact, if there was this physical body without that, we would call it a corpse. So that's what it looks like if there is a physical only object without this element we talk about, consciousness, aliveness, then it's a corpse. But if you're talking about an alive body, which is what we talk about if we're going to talk about health and vitality and that kind of stuff, then the conversation has to be about the whole of it, which is this energy that animates it. And that energy is intelligent. Why is it intelligent? Well, I know, because something as simple as my breathing I couldn't figure out, which is, by the way, why I don't bother with it. Because if I tried to figure out my breathing, like, is there an optimal amount of breathing per minute that I should be doing? And how can I be doing that? Or is there a certain breathing in and holding before I release? Like if I tried to figure that out, well, I couldn't get anything else done.
So, so here, like that's a really interesting one, and I love it. And what about conscious breathing, conscious breath work?
Yes,
Because I guess we will talk about conscious manifestation at some point. So
right.
I would love to. So there is something about that that happens by itself, and there's something also we can choose to do consciously for a limited amount of time. Like,
Yeah.
how would you say that?
Well, very limited amount of time. If you look at your life 24/7, how many minutes, and you think about how much time you could spend in conscious breathing, it would be insignificant. It would have zero impact. It would have zero impact on your life. So now, but meanwhile, there's a 24/7 breathing. Meanwhile, there's a 24/7 aliveness, and it doesn't need you to do anything. It doesn't need you at all because it has an intelligence behind you, and it has one intention, and the one intention is thriving. And when you look at anything that is animate or alive, if you looked at an animal or you looked at a tree or you looked at something like that, there is an energy that expresses through it, which will bring it to its maximum state. And so that is the intention of that. And it has the intelligence to be able to do that under the conditions in which those creatures or alive things find themselves. So if you've ever seen, a tree next to a fence, it may distort around the fence, but it is the maximum thriving under those conditions. If there's a lot of shade on it, something will happen, like that. But whatever that intelligence is, it only wants what is good, what is your highest good, your maximum expression. I would say it's your maximum expression of that possibility that it is. That's the only energy coming for your good and the highest good for all expressions of that same energy. Never a conflict, never anything against anything, right? It's a maximum thriving for you and for all, right? And that is given as a gift in you just coming alive. That is the starting point.
Beautiful. Can we just slow down? I love it. And I want to slow down to just even take stock of everything that you have said so far. So what I'm getting is that we are meant to be thriving. Like we have been given this very precious gift, and you call it innate thriving. So if like we are meant to be thriving, we are meant to be living our best life, we were meant to be living, or not we are meant to be living our best health, physical health, mental health. So the next obvious question is, what gets in the way then, Dominic?
Mm. Well, we have been so this relates to creating, which is to say we are expressions, aspects of this energy. We are made um, of that energy. I said it's indivisible from the way Abraham would describe it is who you are as a pure source energy consciousness. So it is that energy focused into this physical existence. So focused into this physical existence is a focus of that consciousness. And the focus of that consciousness is a thought that is you. And basically, we could say is how you live here, how you exist here is as who you think you are. That is That is who you are for yourself. The experience you have of yourself is that you are who you think you are. And at the same time, you are far more than that. So there's a paradox in there. You are who you think you are. That is the experience you have of you, is that you are who you think you are. And equally true is you are far more than that. You are the very source of that thought. You are indivisible from the source of that consciousness. And you share in its nature. If I use kind of a different kind of a language, we could say, you are made in the image of your source. You are made in the image of the creator. You made in the image, made in the imagination, made in the mind. That mind, that intelligence, you are made of that. Made of that means no difference in all of those qualities or aspects, because you weren't made of something else. That is not that. And so this is what's different about us, is that we weren't made as robots. If we make something, think about us, we will make something that is not made of us. We take metal, silicon chips, different pieces, and we make a thing. That thing follows what we say. It is designed and works as we say. But in this case, we are made in the image of a creator. We are a creator. So when the question you asked is, if what comes is just well-being, and what comes is just health and vitality and thriving, how come we're not always that? And the reason you're not always that is because you are not determined. You are not made in a way that has no choices. You are not, see, with a computer or a machine, it can't suddenly make a different decision and go off and do something else. Even if you look at what's closer to us, like a bird or an animal, a bird will make a nest without going to school, without being taught anything. A bird will make a nest, raise a family, and then as the weather changes, that bird will take flight and fly thousands of miles to a warmer climate. All of that nudged, prompted, moved by this greater intelligent energy. And the bird does not, I'll just be loose with the words here, but the bird or the animal does not think. The bird simply follows, just follows what that thinking is. We're a bit different. We're like, we are free to think. We are free thinkers. You can't make me think anything. I can think anything. I can engage with any thought. And as a result of that, we are more like the creator in that birds have been building those same nests for thousands of years. But take a look at our houses. They're not the same. They're not the same as what was thousands of years ago. And a bird will do that same flight, right? And do like that. But we're like, why should I have to fly for 5,000 miles? Or why should I do that every winter? I'm not going to do that. So we get other sort of choices. We can allow or resist this energy, which only guides us to well-being. We're able to allow or resist it. And in that choice lies a creativity and an opportunity to create, which is you are the unique. You are a unique expression of this whole, and you are a unique creator of your own experience and your own reality. It is unlike anyone else's.
No, that's beautiful, beautiful. So you talked about we are free thinker, and I want us to explore about the power of belief. I'll tell you a very fascinating story about manifestation, but in a negative way. Okay, now I that memory came to me this afternoon when I was a junior doctor. I was doing my what we call residency as a more senior junior doctor, and my we call it SPR. And my consultant had a fascinating lady who came to see her. She had this firm belief that she was going to have a very severe heart attack, and she will be paralyzed. And this was fascinating. She didn't have any other problem. She didn't have any other belief, but she just believed this. And so they did all the investigations that there was nothing, there's no family history, nothing. And so my consultant tried to get her to do cognitive behavior therapy, change her thoughts, and no, she was just adamant. And there was nothing in her history to say that she would have that. And guess what happened? She ended up having that. So we were all shocked, and we were at the same time not shocked, because the way she was going and the high level of conviction that she was going to have a very serious heart attack was so, like, it was 110%. And so we felt sorry for her. But what I'm saying here is that so very innocently she manifested the same thing, the very thing that she did not want. So to me, that was like incredible, that power of belief. And I know we are not talking about it at that level, but all of us have certain beliefs about what's possible for us. And let's just focus on the health aspect now. What's possible for us in terms of our health, whether it be physical health or mental health, and especially if we have been given a label. Say if there's a family history of, I don't know, osteoarthritis or anything. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I have got, like doctor said also, I have got osteoarthritis or I've got rheumatoid arthritis, and yeah, it runs in my family. Or I've been given this diagnosis of recurrent depression, or schizophrenia, or any other diagnosis. And it seems like then we this is who we are, this is who I am. And you talked about that you are who you think you are, and you are far more than that. And what I'm getting to is the power of beliefs and also the power of labels. And I would love you to say something about that, specifically in terms of our health.
Mm. Yeah, I think one thing that's important to realize with this, by the time something manifests physically, it is so far in its progression by the time it manifests physically. This is something for people like who will often be confused by, but I have this lower back pain, but I've never thought about my lower back. So how do you say I'm creating my own reality? I've never given a thought to my lower back, right? So where did this lower back pain come from? And, there's a lot of, so we could say that, and this is an understanding of, there is who I think I am, and then there is the whole of me. This broader perspective beyond what I think, and still me, indivisible from me, but simply further back, the source of all that I can think. You see the difference? In a way, one is the source, the possibility of thought. This is what Sydney Banks was pointing to when he talked about thought. It is the energy of thought, the possibility of thought. And then there is what I think, which is a much more focused. So there's who I think I am, and then there is the more, that is, I am more than I think. It is important to see these two perspectives. These two perspectives are alive and active every moment you are alive and breathing. You are alive and breathing in two perspectives. And in those two perspectives, there is who I think I am. And then if my mind quiets, there is the truth of me, which is an energy and a broad knowing that is indivisible from an infinite intelligence and infinite possibility. What my state is in any moment is in varieties of variety degrees of harmony or disharmony between these two states. So when who I think I am is thinking whatever I'm thinking, that is its own energy, because thought will activate an energy. It will activate, ring through my body. Well, whatever I'm thinking is an energy that I am engaging with, that we could say I am engaging with, I am dancing with, I am moving with that energy of my thinking. But the thing is that there are two energies going on at the same time. There is a source energy of a broader perspective that is the truth of me, that wants only thriving and aliveness. That energy, if I'm going to do a comparison, would be a very high frequency energy. It would be an energy that when we point to it, we would call it peace, love, joy, bliss. If we were going to describe it, these are descriptions we would use. That is the source of me. And then there's me in this moment, focused on my thinking of, well, but my parents had this disease and their parents had this disease before them. And now I am now focusing that energy of infinite possibility. I am focusing that energy onto, I think I'm going to think about this for a little while here. I think I'm going to think a little bit about this or that or the other thing. And what will happen is now there are two vibrations. There is a source vibration that is rubbing up against my focused vibration. And what happens is you'll have a degree of harmony between them or disharmony between them, depending how far apart they are. So the closer my thinking is in harmony with what this all-intelligent knowing knows, then the more harmonious it is, and the more I feel in harmony, I feel at ease. I actually feel like myself. I feel like who I really am. I'm at peace. I'm at ease. The further I go into thinking something that's a lie, thinking something that is false, thinking something that is not true of me, the more bumpy it gets, the more disharmony I am in that active vibration as I engage with that thinking. And within that, what happens is I move from a state of ease into a state of dis-ease. And now I'm in a state of dis-ease. The beginning of that state is a feeling. That's the birth of the state. It is a feeling, and the feeling is disharmonious. And the feeling is telling you, hey, where you're focused, you don't want to go. What you're looking at is not really of interest to you. The way you're thinking about that isn't even true. And it's not anything that you want to be living. And you can feel it in the feeling as it's moving away from ease. However, I think, what do you mean? I should be thinking about this. This is important stuff. I need to give some attention to this thing, horrible thing that I don't want to happen, but I do want to think about it and I want to engage with it. I want to learn about it. I want to find out whether it's here. I want to, all that. So I get into that. I remain in that state of dis-ease. And now it's like I didn't pick up on it as a feeling. So the momentum of it increases. And I cannot think or feel something outside of a literal physical embodied sensation. Every thought you have is literally embodied. It will be embodied. And so ultimately, this is why, you know, and there's lots of like ancient spiritual teachings. We even, it comes in our language. We say things like, you know, I was holding a grudge. That person did this terrible thing to me like a year ago. I'm never going to forgive them of it. And so I've been holding a grudge. Well, you're literally using the language that is describing what you are doing with your body about a thought. So it's literally holding my body in a particular way, bracing myself against that thing. And so then you keep doing that with the body. The manifestation in the body gets deeper and deeper and further. Not as a, let's be clear, this is not a punishment. Everything about this is to wake you up. Everything is to wake you up. It's like, you know, when you feel dis-ease or discomfort or disharmony, it sort of says, hey, wake up, you're on rumble strips. You were driving smoothly on the road, and then you glanced over there at the billboard, and without knowing it, innocently, you just started drifting somewhere you do not want to go. We put rumble strips here so that you can feel the drift. And once you feel the drift, what the drift tells you is you need to steer back on the road. We've been taught in different ways. We've been taught in, no, when I feel the drift, I think I need to investigate it.
Problem solved. Yeah.
I want to talk to people about the drift. And I want to talk to people about the rumble strip.
Yeah. So this is fascinating, isn't it? Or one thing is that we have been given this gift of the intellect, and the prefrontal cortex, and we are so like good at like, oh, we see problems everywhere, because again, for our survival instinct, and then we want a solution, we want to fix it. So a scenario comes to mind to share here and to ask for some comments there. You know, sometimes it's easy for people to say, oh, I'm on the, you know, like, so I know I'm deviating, I want to focus on that. And I also know, because I'm a psychiatrist, I also know many people with like some horrendous side effect of medication, for example. Okay. So, and you know, they say, for example, they have been on what we call psychiatric drugs, and they're trying to come off it, or someone has done it very fast for them, or without them even wanting to take them, they have been put on all these medications, and they are really feeling the effects. I'm thinking of one particular person one person in particular who has gone through horrendous effects. Like it's like, there's some very, like, the physiological shift that happens. So I'm putting that in a scenario here only for us to consider. Like, I'm thinking it's easier, but that person might be thinking, they're not here, but they might be thinking it's easier said than done. If I could shift my mind and then focus only on something else, I would have done it. But I don't find any relief, and it's not just like, it doesn't just happen for 1 minute or 2 minutes. I am spending like a lot of time there. And of course there's another layer, that's you and me, I know there's something about that person experiencing what they're experiencing, and there's another level of, I should not be experiencing this, or I want to get rid of this as fast as possible. But help me understand, like, if it is if this is say if this is, as my understanding of being a psychiatrist is that drugs do chemicals. You take a chemical, you take a cigarette, you take substances, there will be an impact of the chemical. So if the person were to say, like, I want to manifest my best health, and this is what I am with at the moment, how would you help someone like that?
Mm, so much in there. First of all, I think we want to acknowledge that there's no greater chemical factory than the human body. The human body is capable of manufacturing chemicals in precise doses, mixes, and combinations for any purpose that it has. Wouldn't matter what you eat. It could be bad food. It could be whatever. And this chemical factory, that is this physical body, will mix the chemicals, produce them, create them, and mix them in precise orders to handle anything that you come across. And so that's good to know, right? So that's good to know that there is this incredible intelligence. Fight or flight, like all of that kind of stuff. That is such a helpful thing that serves us, because again, it's an intelligence we don't have to think about, because it's literally built in. We could be just walking around, and the sensitivity of this organism, the sensitivity of this organism, without us even being conscious, can pick up sounds, can pick up things in the vision that we're not even paying attention to because we're doing whatever we're doing. But it senses it, and it can do quick calculations, and it can determine that that is a lion or a tiger, right? And a bird or whatever it is. So it can do quick calculations, determine all of that, and then the chemical release is incredible. Like, what happens next is amazing, right? All of it without us consciously doing anything. So then what it does is, which may relate to why people say it's difficult for me to change the way I think about this. I keep thinking about this, right? When part of what the body does to serve you in a time where there's something very dangerous that's happening, that you need to move to fight or flight, the chemical releases will shut down prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that does executive function and real kind of thinking. And the reason it does that, because if you start thinking, you being you little mind, you little mind of very little intelligence, not all knowing, right? If you start thinking, you will kill us both, right? So the body is so smart as an organism, it will shut that down, impossible to think. And because you cannot think anymore, you literally don't have the blood flow to do a lot of real overthinking at this point. What's left is an unfiltered, unopposed vibration and thinking. Remember your source, that source consciousness, that all-knowing energy that wants nothing but thriving and aliveness. You now are in no position to contradict it. That energy and that thinking now is in command, now is in control, because from this finite perspective, you become physically incapable of stopping this. So the desire of source to remain alive in this body will overwhelm anything you can do. Desire, there's no life without desire. And where that desire comes from is before life, before physical life. And so that desire to live through you and to thrive through you will dominate in those scenarios that you have accidentally run into. So you will not be able to stop or oppose it because you can't think. You can't think against it. And what you find is you just find yourself moved. You either pick up a rock or you pick up a club or you run like crazy. And none of it was planned and none of it did you think about. But it was intelligently guided in a way that has you continue to live. Right? So we can scale back from there, though, to less dangerous things. And in less dangerous things, you just have more interference. You're just allowed more interference because, again, this thing did not want you as a robot. You are not here to live at the command of this thing, this consciousness, this broader view of you. You are here to be the creator of your own reality. And you have lots of choices. You are so free you can choose bondage. You are so free you can make yourself ill. You are so free you can do anything. You are so free you can live joyfully. You are so free you can live miserably. You can create any experience you wish. There is no limit or boundary to that. You are free to explore all of it. All of it is possible.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're finding it valuable. I want to take a quick moment to tell you about something really special we have created. It's called the Aligned and Free Community. It's a space for people who want to grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, to feel grounded, calm, and stronger, even in the middle of challenges. We meet live twice a week for group coaching and deep conversations about healing, purpose, lifestyle, and living from love rather than fear. You'll also get access to replays, online courses and resources, and a beautiful community of like-minded souls who support each other. If you're ready to go deeper on your journey, not just to learn, but to transform, I'd love to invite you to join us. You can find all the details in the description below. Now let's get back to the video. What I'm hearing is you can be in this moment, you can be experiencing anything, and your limitation to create still does not, your ability to create still doesn't stop because you're experiencing something which is you're feeling very uncomfortable. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, and that's excellent because to go to this scenario you gave, what does it matter right now where I'm at? In other words, creation is now. Creation is starting now. So, but the problem with now is, I've got this history of this bad situation or I have this physical ailment. That's my problem. So, one day, I hope to get to be the creator of my own reality. But for now, there's a few things I have to clean up first, right? And you're the creator of your own reality now. these, there is never a moment in time, there is never a here and now where you do not have available to you all that you need to be or do or have anything you desire. There is never a moment in time that you do not stand where you stand in front of infinite possibility with no limitation. The ability to create, be or do or have, to create any experience you wish. And the only thing that could get in the way of that is a thought. The only thing that could get in the way of that is a thought. A thought that you honor, a thought that you respect, a thought that you trust, a thought that you engage with, a thought that you insist upon. Yeah, that might be true for other people, but not me. Well, that's a thought. Well, but I'm disadvantaged though, because had I not made that mistake 10 years ago, I would not be in this position now. That's a thought. And what are we talking about? We're talking about, but what is it you want to create? But what is it you want to create now? Well, but I want to tell you though how I got here. Well, that's different. That's different, right? But you are here, aren't you? You are here and now, right? Is there any interest in what you want to create from here and now? Well, I think I should explain how I got here. I think I need to explain how I ended up here, right? Well, every breath of your life that is spent in that direction of looking backwards, explaining and justifying how I got to be here in this creation is a breath and a consciousness that is not focused on what is now clear to me that I wish to create, which exists in this moment. The desire of what I want exists in this moment. And when I am thinking in the direction of what that desire is, it feels so good. And when I'm thinking against that desire, it feels so bad. And so therein lies your guidance, perfect guidance. It's as simple as the hot and cold game that is offered to children. When you're getting closer, you're getting closer, you're getting warmer, you're getting warmer, you're getting hotter as you move toward your desire. And it's getting colder, it's getting colder, it's getting colder as you move your attention away from your desire.
I love this. I love this. You know, a question popped in my head. I was thinking, oh, Dominic, you were talking about a quiet mind and in being quiet, and I'm sure this being able to get quiet would be towards what we desire. You know, when I think of healthy mind, a healthy body, I get to get quiet, and in a way that is like the hotter and hotter. If our mind is getting calm and we are like nothing's changed, yeah, until a few seconds or minutes ago, everything was probably, my knee was hurting, my back was hurting, but then I choose to explore and focus on what I want moving forward. I guess it's not even a doing, but our mind just gets quiet, and that's like the warm feeling you're thinking, oh, hotter and hotter and hotter rather than cold, 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 cold. Am I getting it
Yes.
right?
Yeah. You know, I've been thinking about this quiet mind because it's pointed to all the time. Like I know in the three principles, we speak to going to quiet mind. So much spirituality, they'll speak to this sort of meditation so that you reach quiet state or quiet mind. It's like quieting the mind. Yeah. and for the longest time, I'm like, oh, so like then I'm not thinking, right? Like that. So because quiet mind, so I'm not thinking, right? And I used to think, even Sid, like it was a bit confusing because Sid would say, and I've heard others, Abraham says the same thing. As long as you're living and breathing, you will be thinking. That's kind of what happens. Is it's the way you are physically focused. There is thinking, which is what has you have this experience. Without that personal thinking, you would only have the one experience. Right? The trouble with that is you wouldn't be here, right? So if you have that experience, then you're not focused here. So if you're going to be focused here, there is thinking. So what's this quiet mind thing? And then recently I kind of realized that, let's say that what it is about, I have a my mind is in harmony. My mind is at peace. At peace is not at war. So there is thinking not at war with wisdom and intelligence. There are thoughts, there are personal thoughts not at war with my desire. My mind is at peace. So that it kind of like, for me, it was like, I don't think I'm doing this right because I'm still thinking stuff. And so then I was just kept thinking. I'm like, they said it's a quiet mind, but I know I'm still thinking. And so how do I get to be
Yeah, I
quiet?
have
How
to
do I
switch off my
shut?
mind first. I have to switch off my thinking first.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But you know you've achieved it when there's no war. I'm really one mind, a harmonious mind. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm conscious of time. I would love to get some questions or reflections. So please put on your hand, your virtual hand. That will help us see you. If you have any questions for Dominic or any reflections that you want to share, we have got about 25 minutes left. So let's just see what's landing for you. Is anything landing for you, or is it like, oh my goodness, I have no clue what they have been going on about for the last 60 minutes.
And you can take off if there's spotlight or whatever, so we can all see
Yeah,
each other, I guess.
let's
If you,
let's
it's up to you.
yeah. So let's do that. I think it's always nice to put the personal. So like,
Yeah, 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 no problem. Um, and yeah, invite you to be practical and specific for your situation, or just generalize it if you like. But
yeah. I like the yes buts, Dominic. I think I learn best when I say, "Oh yeah, I get you," and a but.
yes,
The
yeah.
but is where, someone's but could really help someone else hear something. And if you don't want to say anything out loud, you can still ask a question by typing it. So anyway, any way you want to do it.
Thanks, Julia. Julie said my mind is blown. That's a great thing, and it could only be the personal mind, because the true mind will never be blown. It's so that's good. It just dislodges the personal, which is cool.
Damir, you have your hand up. So do you want to unmute yourself? I can't see your video.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question connected. Let's say I'm in a space. What is here before any thought? I'm already in that space. How would I achieve that, not achieve, have that job, perfect job for me, yeah? What would be the way. Am I clear?
Yeah. So this is very practically speaking about maybe what's a career for you or what's a position for you or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't want to work anymore in a job which I am present, and I don't know what the job would be. Yeah.
excellent. Yeah, very good question, well phrased. I think we'll see a lot as we flesh out based on your question. Um, so here I am present now, and the just say a little bit more about what you said your starting point. I'm here in a quiet, how did you say this now state was? Quiet space or something? How?
I'm already in a space which is before any thought. So I'm already here now, present. Yeah.
Okay.
Where?
Yes. Okay. This is interesting. When you are truly at one in harmony with that broader, all knowing perspective or intelligence that is you, the, the mind, the intelligence that lives and breathes you, that intelligence is infinite, all knowing. And here's the thing, it is expressing itself as you, through you. It expresses itself as you, through you. It moves as you, through you, in varying levels of harmony and disharmony, depending how much personal thinking is in the way. You are a unique expression of that energy. You, we are each unique expressions of the all. We are a unique expression of God. So, come back if you don't mind iterating here a little bit. So now I said something. Now ask your question again. Ask the question now from the basis that I started. You can repeat your question if you like.
So there is a immense possibility which can materialize. And if I get it, it will come through me by the nudge, by the next thing, and it's a moment to moment recognizing where I am.
So that's that. That is an a realization you just described. The way your question started was a little different. Do you remember what your question was?
That I don't know what job
Yes.
will I do.
Yeah. What job can I do? What job will I do which is satisfying, fulfilling, and
Yeah.
and a great example of my maximum aliveness, a job that is me being most alive and being most at my best. And when you think about the question that God asked, from which perspective does the question exist?
At this
Who
moment,
doesn't know?
That energy which doesn't know. Yeah. Not the energy which knows.
So the Damir who is finite and focused here, the who you think you are, right? You don't know. Of course you don't know, right? Because, of course you don't know because you're not all knowing, right? And fortunately, you are sourced, you exist, you are lived by an energy that is all knowing, that has more intelligence. So if does that know, does that intelligence know, given where you are right now in these circumstances, under these conditions, with this situation, in this economy, and the certain positions that may or may not be available, and your skill set and all of that other stuff, does that energy know what the maximum, most amazing expression of a career would be for you?
Yes, definitely.
And it is living and breathing you. It knows it, and it is living and breathing you. It is nudging you, moving you moment by moment. It is never letting up on that knowing coming to you. Like, no, there's not even a split in it, ever, not even a gap. That vibration of knowing is flowing through you. And so, what do you hear in that?
As a great news, great energy. I cannot express the vibe of that. It is so high and alive. That is amazing.
I love it. I can tell that you felt it or sensed it or realized this. Like I can talk and tell this story and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's his story. That's a perspective. But right now, as I listened to you, you saw something, you felt something, you sensed the truth that that is what's happening. That's what's so exciting. Isn't that exciting? Like in any moment of aliveness, this is where you stand.
Yeah, it's a perfect. It's a great thing. Yeah.
And all that happens is it's a matter of how will I know? How so what's going to happen? How's this going to unfold? Again, it's I don't know, but this is the matter of I don't like this. I don't like using this word, but trust, because there's something higher than trust. But if I actually see this, I come to a realization that I will use the word trust for now, but I want something stronger. I would come to a realization that, wow, this is certain. This is sure. This energy will move me, act. I will, through action, speaking and acting, it will move me from where I am to that ideal position. And I just don't know what that path will be. Like, I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I don't know even the timing of when it's going to happen, but I can see that this energy will find, it will find in these circumstances, in these conditions, in this situation, it will find its way, move as an energy by the path of least resistance all the way to that point. It is like certain. And only I can interfere with it by listening to myself and my own chatter rather than being more quiet and being inspired by its knowing. So there's my choice, right? It's a simple choice. One feels good and the other one will not feel as good. Therein lies your guidance, moment to moment to moment.
Uh, Dominic, and Demi, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
this.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
I'm conscious that there are a few more questions. I think it'll be nice to answer those before we end the call. So John is saying, are there, and this seems similar, both of this. So I'll read it out together. So John is saying, are there any practical exercises for good mental health, for dealing with intrusive thoughts rather than the philosophical or conceptual? It feels a rather cerebral discussion. That's John's take on that. And then someone else is asking, Rita is asking, how to break a habit of intrusive thinking causing anxiety, often not conscious of their reputation. So both questions are around intrusive thoughts and some suggestions, some practicalities, and so yeah, I would like to know how you'd respond to that, Dominic.
Yeah, this is where yeah, we want practical, and practical is kind of the lowest intelligence requirement is for practical. Just tell me what to do. Okay. Can we cut to the chase here? What is the thing that I would do, right? So that I can get to where I want to go. And the thing is that the thing for you to do, no one knows but you. So the thing for you to move toward thriving, only you will know. Because you're unique in the way of thinking, in the beliefs. You're unique in the beliefs. You are unique in your experience. You are unique in the reason that you are the way you are, think the way you think. And so to unravel all of that isn't a matter of just doing something different, because everything you do is flowing from the way that you think. Everything you do is flowing from what's making sense to you. This is why when I'm coaching, and I coach leaders who they're not interested in any of this. So they're just interested in performance, right? And so that they're interested in performance and behaviors and competencies and how do I be a better leader and all of that. But we do not go into that, because they do not hire me because they need someone to tell them how to behave or how to lead in a particular style. What we're really interested in is, what do they know about that effectiveness or impact? So the behavior change happens automatically after realization. Until there's realization, there's no amount of new practices and habits that can ever knock you out of the perspective that you're in. Being is not sourced in doing. Being is primary. Being expresses itself. You cannot change a being by altering a doing. Being is primary, expressing itself. You shift being and action happens effortlessly. If I come home and every day what happens is I see a barrier in front of my house, and so then I have to walk all the way around that barrier. And this is a real problem because, it's taking me a lot of time. It's just very inconvenient. And I say, I don't know why I keep stopping at that barrier. I want more courage. I want a practical way of being able to just plow through the barrier. And well, what is the barrier? Well, every time I walk, there's a shadow that comes. I don't know, that time of day I arrive, and there's a shadow that is in front. And so, therefore, I have to walk all the way around it in order to get to my front door. And so, right away, what we know is I can give you stuff. I can give you, like, well, you know what you should do is visualize yourself just walking right through it, right? Or just like decide that you're going to act anyway, no matter what, right? Even though there's barriers, you can act and just like prove to yourself that you can go through it. We can do all that, or we can explore the nature of shadows. If we explore the nature of shadows, what we discover is that they're not there. They're not a barrier. They're simply a blockage of light. They are an appearance. Upon that realization, not only will you walk past that shadow, you will never be blocked by another shadow again, because you now understand the nature of shadows, period. And so this is the power of Sydney Banks' teaching, is whereas most teachings would play with your shadows, they play with your thinking. They give you practices to think less. They give you practices to think better. They give you practices to think in a more solution-focused way. They give you practices to think more positively. Sydney Banks, in the 3 Principles, he said, do you want to pause for a minute and just talk about the nature of thought? Because if you understood the nature of thought, it would change everything. And so in understanding the nature of thought, a lot of all that work goes away. All that work, all these practices, all this stuff, which is really about trying to address the doing you're doing that gets in your way. And the doing you're doing that gets in your way is either action doing or it's thinking doing. So you don't need another doing. You need to stop doing.
I love it. I mean, as a possibility, and again, I'm just saying to the people, if it was as simple as tell me the steps to stop my anxieties, to stop intrusive thoughts, whatever it is, just Google. You will find, hundreds of steps. You're not happy with 1 or 2 steps. You can have hundreds of steps. You just look, and so many people will say, oh, you have got this problem, anxiety. You go for a walk. You can do this. You can do that. So, like what you're saying, Dominic, is, yeah, we can give you all of that. But what I have also noticed is, like, I can share all of that to you, but you already know. Like, people say, yeah, I know it's a good idea, but I don't feel like it, or something happened, or but the shadow is really big today, kind of thing. So there is something about, like, when you say the nature of shadows, I was chuckling to myself, and I'm wondering, rather than saying how do I deal with intrusive thoughts, perhaps a possibility is I would love to explore the nature of what I call intrusive thoughts. And the other thing I'm hearing here is, as a possibility, the intrusive thoughts, what you call intrusive thoughts, are low vibrational energy. So that, like, when you're talking about 2 states here, Dominic, one, we already know that there is there's something, there's a knowing of what's possible, or what beyond that intrusive thought. So there is this low vibrational energy we are focusing on, and then that seems to grow more, and it's just like, although it might seem cerebral, I'm using your word there, John, it might seem cerebral, it might seem, all this fancy philosophical. One of the things I have to say that did not come in my training was any of this. In my training as a psychiatrist, we learn lots of theory and lots of tools and techniques, or ask people to have some talking therapy. But what was so, and this is why I struggled initially, I have to say, when I came across the three principles understanding, or even the understand, Abraham Hicks, it's like, whoa, it's too much for me, because I was looking for teach me how to help people overcome the shadow, so to speak, rather than teach me to really understand the nature of shadows or nature of thoughts. And once I had my own a realization from within, and I started to see clearer, it then makes sense now for me to like point to that we are talking about here. So I really appreciate the
Mhm.
questions. I appreciate your answers, Dominic. We have got a couple of minutes. Is there anything, Dominic, you thought that or you wanted to say and you still haven't had a chance to say, and based on all the questions we have received so far, that might be might
Maybe
help.
maybe one thing on that, just that last
Yeah.
point, is once I realize that all intrusive disharmonious thinking. See, I'm going to say this as an assertion, and please don't believe me. I will only assert it. But if you explore it, unless you see the truth in it, it will make no difference for you. It will just become a thing, a statement that Dominic made, and some people believe it and some people don't believe it. Every intrusive, disharmonious thought is a personal thought that contains a false premise. In other words, every intrusive thought that is disharmonious, any thought that makes me sick, is a lie. Any thought that makes me sick is a false thought. It is untrue. And so, like I said, I am asserting this for now. You don't believe me. This is something that you can explore to find. There is not one exception you will find to this. So the only harm is a thought which is false and a lie, which you innocently believe. And so, this basically all that's harming is shadows. All that's harming is something that is false. And so the reason I'm saying that so assertively is because the source of thought will never lie. So the thought that comes, that lives and breathes you, comes with one intention, one direction, and that one direction is more aliveness, more thriving. The only thinking that can be opposed to that is my own thinking. It is a finite, non-intelligent, not infinite, all-knowing intelligence. And so the moment I feel a discomfort in a thinking, well, the moment I feel any discomfort, I know that the only way I feel a discomfort is because I am believing innocently a thought about me, my true nature, the nature of reality. I am believing a thought that is not true. And so and my body is beginning to signal to me that I am beginning to believe that thought. And so at the end of the day, once you understand like a realization, then what happens is I don't need a practice. I've got a built-in lie detector. And by the way, how do I stop engaging with something when I know it's not true? How do I stop thinking something when I know it's not true? How do I stop doing that? That's not a question when you know it's not true. You know, I thought it was cold outside, it was dark and all of that. Then, because everything was closed. Then I opened the door and it's sunny and it's warm. So how do I stop thinking that it's cold outside, it's dark, and I can't? How do I stop thinking that? You don't have to stop thinking that. You don't need a technique to stop thinking that. Once you see it, you're changed. Everything is changed. Your whole behavior changes. Yeah.
Beautiful. I think that's a really good note to end this. We are 2 minutes past time, but I hope everyone enjoyed the session as much as I did. So, Dominic, if people wanted to get in touch with you, how would they find you?
If you take my name, DominicScaffidi.com, you'll be at a website. There's a mailing list you can sign up to, and you'll be informed of different things that I'm doing. that same website has tons of free resources and webinar replays. And I talk, as you might have noticed, I talk incessantly about this stuff. I'm sharing about it all the time. And if you're on Facebook, join my Facebook group. It's called Ask and It Is Given, How Thoughts Become Things. And we have lots of these conversations in that group. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dominic, and thank you everyone for staying until the end.